going to be a party. Join us as we party all morning long with Will Selva out in the newsroom with his eyes on all the stories.
Absolutely. Starting here in Los Angeles, Kay and guys, Rams defensive tackle Aaron Donald is now coming off a career year of 20.5 sacks in 2018, but he'll really have to crank it up in the second half of the season to try and reach that lofty number. He's currently on pace for 10 sacks. Now, Sunday's game against the Steelers will have a little extra meaning for Donald. He was born and raised in the Steel City. He's Pittsburgh through and through, even attending college at Pitt. Our man Omar Ruiz was at Rams practice on Wednesday and asked Donald about his first game back home.
Now that it's finally here, how do you harness all that emotion that you'll be feeling on Sunday?
Just trying to keep it all in, but it's going to be a good experience just because, that's my hometown where I was born and raised in, a team that I grew up rooting for and cheering for. So they had the opportunity to play against them and play at home again. That's going to be big, so I'm just excited about it.
Well, the Rams could have some help back on defense as linebacker Clay Matthews was back at practice on a limited basis. He's been out since suffering a fractured jaw in Week 5. He talked to reporters about the struggles of keeping weight on while having your jaw wired shut.
I was only able to eat soft food, so I started with oatmeal and eggs and kind of worked my way up there. Had my wife saute the vegetables a little bit longer, and never realized how much I enjoy eating until you have your mouth wired shut. But no, yeah, it was one of those ones that sucks, no doubt about it, not only being hurt, but you don't realize how much, I guess, you use your mouth, every day, having it wired shut, especially when your kids don't listen to you. But that's another story.
Well, yeah, you can't say anything to your kids if your mouth is wired shut. Either way, if you've had dental work, you have smoothies or ice cream, that kind of thing. I can't imagine long periods of time you're not able to eat your steak medium well. It's very, very difficult. That as tempting as it could be.
Good joke, but that sounds horrifying.
Yeah.
Thanks, Will. Appreciate you with the updates on the injuries. We have an injury that we need to get an update on out in Kansas City. It's the Chiefs and the Titans facing off this Sunday. Who's going to be under center for Kansas City? Let's check in with James Palmer. He's got the latest on Patrick Mahomes.
Well, thanks, Kay. On Wednesday, Patrick Mahomes once again took the practice field. Now the expectation from Andy Reid, though, is he's going to do even more than he has done over the last 2 weeks. Now, Andy Reid wants to see how his knee responds within practice throughout the week, but also how it responds in the mornings after they've now increased his workload. Andy Reid, ownership included, is all listening to the medical staff with the Chiefs on when Mahomes should return to the practice field, but they don't believe he needs to practice in full to be their starter against the Tennessee Titans on Sunday. They believe he knows this offense well enough, he knows his receivers well enough, and development of the game plan that he can practice on a limited basis and still be their starting quarterback. Titans head coach Mike Vrabel told me on Wednesday, Kay, that he believes Mahomes is going to be the starter, and that's who they are preparing for. If he doesn't play, though, it is Matt Moore who is going to be the starting quarterback for the Chiefs, even though veteran Chad Henneke has come off of IR.
Thank you so much, James. So no Patrick Mahomes last Sunday. Of course, Matt Moore leads the Chiefs to a win over the Vikings. So Kansas City's at 6-3. The Titans, like I said, are on deck on the docket for Sunday. Is there an argument, Triggs, to be made to not play him, even if he can go?
The argument is every day he rests is another day that he can recover even more. The knee injury is such a unique one, and I've spoken to medical professionals about this, that literally a day matters, and it can set him forward for, like, every single day matters. And yet, if he practiced yesterday in full, which he did with the first team, and he practices today in full, the first team, and he recovers fine, I think you have to play Mahomes. You can't just assume you're going to win these games. You're going into Tennessee, and you look at the AFC playoff picture, as much as we're talking about tonight's game as like a wild card possibility, if you drop this one and the Chargers win another one, suddenly they're 5-5. If the Raiders win it, they're 5-4. The Chiefs become 6-4. Like, it gets very closely together. I wouldn't risk a loss in the regular season, no matter who they're playing. And I don't think a walk into Tennessee is actually a walk in the park. I think the Titans can fight. They've got a pretty good defense. I think you need Mahomes to win that game. I would say play him, but only if the knee is completely healthy. And Rick Bokolder and the medical training staff all says, yep, he's good to go.
It better be the greatest physical of all time. And baby, this knee is incredible because we can show the playoff picture. I feel like that is incredibly insignificant in the scheme and the scope of Patrick Mahomes. This is a macro deal here. You know what I mean? Like that's why I like James saying that ownership is involved. This is almost like, I don't care what the coach says. I don't even care what the doctor says. Like, we're going to be in the playoffs with Patrick Mahomes in 2032. Like, we got the golden goose. All we can do is mess it up. It reminds me a lot of when Carson Wentz got hurt, and we're saying, guys, Carson Wentz is your franchise quarterback. There's no rush back. And I think a lot of times there's some machismo involved in this, and there's some courage that you got to protect the players from. If it's in any way even questionable at all, send him out this week, send him out this month. We have to think about years from now, not days from now. Mahomes is the future of the sport. Yeah. Protect him at all costs.
Sounds like you've got some selfish. You love Mahomes.
I love Mahomes, and I know Andy Reid loves Mahomes.
No doubt.
Andy Reid wants to keep coaching with him. What if they put him just a hair too early and just a little thing? You can't.
I agree.
See, this is everything, guys.
He has to be 101% ready to go. Anything less, he should not play.
In that game where his knee popped out and we saw it get popped back in, it was like the Super Bowl hopes for the Chiefs just falling. And speaking of falling, it's one of my favorite movies.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
You touch people, it's nuts.
You touch people,
Look out.
and they have this spirit in them. And from there, it seems like it's just a chain of events that just falls apart.
You're right.
And he's constantly chasing behind in this movie. And that's the season. I feel like you put Pat Mahomes out there, you're going to end up hurting something else, because he's hurting from that knee. And it might not be Pat Mahomes. It could be another player that gets injured because they're overcompensating for something Pat Mahomes can't do. And speaking of that movie, it's funny because when they would hit each other and touch each other, there was a song they would sing. And I can't sing it, but it was, "Time is on my side." And it's fitting because I want the Chiefs fans, I want the organization to realize time is on your side, dude. And we're not talking about this season. I'm not talking about the postseason. I'm not even talking about next year. I'm saying exactly what you're saying, Kyle. We're talking for a decade.
You don't think Andy Reid and these guys know this?
Like, it's not up to, who's it up to?
It's up
the
to
medical staff, the
I
ownership?
think Mahomes is really pushing the play.
Okay.
They've got medical staff and Andy Reid, but like, to me, it's you got a Porsche and you got a Pinto, you drive the Porsche if it's available. And here's saying it's available, and all the medical professionals are saying it's available. I don't want to just keep it in the garage through fear. That's not how you live life.
Kids got to drive that Porsche down the road.
Okay, but that's not how you live life, and that's not how you win Super Bowls, being scared. Their whole thing is pedal to the metal, and if the doctors are saying he's okay, I'd love to see Mahomes out there.
Oh, sure.
I want to see him out there if he is 100%, just like the NFL at 100, celebrating it all season long, and we have experiences of a lifetime. This is the coolest one. What if you could bring the Vince Lombardi Trophy home for Wild Card Weekend?
No way.
Yeah, you can do this.
Like the Stanley Cup?
To win, yep. Post a picture. You can, you can't really eat cereal out of that. But
a buffalo wing.
Eat your cereal next to the Lombardi Trophy. Tell us why you deserve a chance to lift this thing on Instagram or Twitter, and tag at NFL and hashtag NFL100 contest. For more info, visit NFL.com/100/contest.
Using unique parameters
like
based on things from our lives. Kate once said that a 10 on her fear scale is getting hit in the head with a baseball in a ball game. Peter said a 10 on his shock scale was Kate Beckinsale and Pete Davidson dating. And true story, Nate said a 1 on his trust scale is the woman who claims not to flatulate. He really did say that on national television.
Cannot wait to dig into that and learn something. Don't turn your TV off. Mitchell Trubisky doesn't want to watch us in the morning?
Today